She emerged, soaked from the waterfall, thinking she was alone until her boss arrived. "Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us return to our main character. The forest was quiet in that late afternoon way, when even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Mist floated above the riverbed, drifting like pale ribbons through the trees. The waterfall roared against the rocks, but everything else felt still, untouched, as if the world had stepped aside to give her a moment of peace she had been craving for weeks. Emma Alvarez pushed through the last curtain of ferns and stepped into the clearing, her clothes clinging to her body, drenched from the icy cascade behind her. She brushed her wet hair back, breathing hard, trying to steady the rush inside her chest. She had escaped here right after work, needing somewhere anywhere that did not smell like printer ink, deadlines, or the cold fluorescent lights of the office hallway. She truly believed she was alone. No co-workers, no buzzing phones, no demanding calendars, just the sound of water and the faint scent of pine. Emma folded her arms as a chill ran across her skin. She glanced around quickly, making sure no hikers were nearby. The trail was unused at this hour. She had checked twice, maybe 3 times. This was supposed to be her secret spot, the one place in the world where she could break down without anyone watching. Her breath shook as she exhaled. "Great," she muttered softly. "At least no one can see me like this. Easy." But then a twig snapped. A single, unmistakable crack. Close, too close. Emma's head jerked up, her pulse hammered. She turned toward the tree line, expecting maybe a stray deer, a hiker cutting through late, or the forest ranger doing a round. She did not expect him. Gabriel Hart, her boss, the vice president of the entire company, the man whose signature could decide whether she had a job next quarter. He stepped out from between the pine trunks, tall and sharply outlined against the fading sunlight, wearing the same dark jacket he had left the office in. His eyes widened the instant he saw her, soaked from head to toe, vulnerable, startled, completely unprepared for an audience, especially him. "Emma?" His voice was low, confused. What are you doing out here?" Her breath caught. Her fingers tightened around the strap of her bag. Every muscle in her body locked in place, heat rising up her neck despite the cold water dripping from her clothes. This was not happening. Not him. Not here. "I thought," Emma swallowed hard, "I thought no one was around." Gabriel took one slow step forward, rain-soft soil crunching under his boots. His brows pressed together, concern mixing with a shock he clearly did not know how to hide. Emma saw something flicker across his face, something human, something gentle beneath the CEO armor he wore every day. "I did not mean to scare you," he said quietly. "I saw your car on the lower road. I just wanted to make sure you were safe." Safe. The word echoed strangely in her chest. Her heart thudded harder. The humiliation, the panic, the raw vulnerability of being seen like this, all of it tangled into a knot that kept tightening with every second he stood there. Emma forced a breath, but it trembled. This was the last person she ever wanted to witness her falling apart. Yet here he was, and he had already seen too much. Gabriel did not move any closer, and for a long second neither of them spoke. Water dripped from Emma's sleeves, pattering softly onto the moss below. Her throat tightened as the embarrassment settled into her bones. She had barely held herself together at the office these past few weeks, and now her boss had seen her like this, soaked, shaken, and nowhere near the polished version of herself she tried to present each morning. "I should go," Emma said quickly, forcing her backpack onto her shoulder. "I did not realize anyone else used this trail." Gabriel's expression shifted, something like regret flickering behind his eyes. "I did not mean to intrude. I noticed you left work early." Claire said. "You looked pale. I got worried when I saw your car by the lower path." His concern only made her want to hide more. She tightened her grip on her strap and stepped past him, not trusting herself to look him in the eye. But as she brushed by, he noticed something jutting from the side pocket of her bag. A corner of a sketchbook, edges softened from use. She tugged the flap down quickly, but not before he recognized the graphite smudges. "You draw," he said quietly. Emma froze. "It is nothing important, just personal things." He hesitated. "May I see?" No, her voice cracked, sharper than she intended. It is not for anyone else. A heavy breath left him, and he nodded once, respecting the boundary. She started walking again, each step squishing slightly on the wet soil, trying to outrun the heat rising in her cheeks. She prayed he would let her go, let her disappear into the trees, pretend none of this happened. But his voice followed her. "Emma, you do not have to hide everything." She stopped. Her shoulders tightened. The sound of the waterfall roared behind them, but his words were louder inside her chest. "I am not hiding," she said, still facing away. "Yes, you are," Gabriel answered, not accusing, almost gentle. "At the office, you work hard. Keep your head down. Never ask for anything. People think it means you are fine, but leaving early and coming out here alone, that does not look fine to me." Chapter and Aisha. Emma squeezed her eyes shut. She hated how close his words came. She hated that he saw even a fraction of her exhaustion. She turned halfway toward him, enough to see the outline of his face through the dimming light. "Sir, with all respect, you do not know me." "You are right," he replied. "I do not. But I want to understand what pushed you to come this far into the woods instead of asking someone for help." The honesty in his tone disarmed her. Gabriel Hart, the man everyone called Stone Cold, was standing in the middle of the forest telling her he wanted to understand her. The contradiction alone made her pulse trip over itself. Emma forced a shaky breath. "Work has been difficult. Life has been difficult. And the waterfall is the only place where things stop hurting for a little while." He absorbed her words without interrupting. Finally, he said, "Then let me walk you back. It is getting dark, and the trail is not safe in low light." She wanted to refuse, but the fading sun had turned the path into shadows, and she knew he was right. So she nodded once, and the two of them began walking side by side, neither speaking, their footsteps falling in uneven rhythm. As they reached the trailhead, Emma paused, realizing how strange this moment was. Her powerful boss walking her out of the forest like an old friend. She opened her mouth to thank him, but Gabriel spoke first. "Come in late tomorrow," he said. "You look like you need rest." Her chest tightened again. "If this is about the staff evaluation, I promise I will complete the reports tonight." "This is not about reports," he answered softly. "It is about you." Emma's breath hitched, and before she could respond, he stepped aside, giving her space to pass. She walked toward her car, her heart pounding so loudly she almost missed the next thing he said. "Emma, I am glad you were safe." She did not look back. She could not, because something inside her had shifted the moment he said it. Emma barely slept that night. Every time she closed her eyes, the forest returned to her, the roar of the waterfall, the sting of cold water on her skin, and then Gabriel's voice, steady and impossibly gentle, echoing the same sentence over and over. "I am glad you were safe." By morning, her alarm felt like a hammer striking her skull. She pushed herself out of bed, feet dragging across the worn carpet of her small apartment. The kitchen light flicked on with a quiet buzz, revealing a half-empty cereal box, an overdue electricity bill, and the lunch she had prepared 2 days ago and forgotten in the fridge. She closed the door without touching it. Her sketchbook sat on the counter, right where she set it when she came home in a rush last evening. She hesitated, tracing the edge of the cover with her thumb. Drawing always calmed her, but today her chest tightened when she opened it, remembering how close Gabriel had come to seeing its pages. She shut it quickly. She was not ready for that kind of vulnerability again. Outside, the morning fog clung to the street. As she walked toward the bus stop, she tried to remind herself that yesterday had just been an accident, a strange, humiliating accident, nothing more. Gabriel would forget it, the same way he forgot every minor interaction that did not relate to quarterly targets or client presentations. Still, her pulse quickened the moment she stepped into the lobby of Hartwell Dynamics. The marble floors, the cool scent of cologne and polished metal, the quiet tapping of heels, all of it felt sharper today, as if every detail carried his presence. She reached her desk and started her computer, forcing herself into the safety of routine. Emails, schedules, inventory adjustments. Lines and lines of numbers that usually felt comforting, but her thoughts kept drifting back to the trail, to the look on his face when he saw her. Around mid-morning, Claire from accounting stopped by, her arms full of folders. "Emma, good morning. Are you doing better today?" she asked with her usual bright smile. Emma paused. "Better? You left early yesterday." Mr. Hart asked where you were and if somebody should check on you. Honestly, I have never seen him look worried before. Emma's hands froze on her keyboard. He asked that? Oh yes, I thought maybe you were sick or something. Claire handed her the folders. Anyway, these need to be sorted by department by noon. Thank you, Emma murmured, though she barely heard herself. She stared at her monitor, her heart beating faster than she wanted to admit. Why would Gabriel ask about her? Why would he check the trail? Why would he worry? Before she could make sense of it, her phone buzzed quietly. A message from the internal office line. Please come to the 22nd floor conference room. G. Hart. Her breath caught. Not his assistant. Not human resources. Him. She swallowed hard, wiped her palms on her skirt, and took the elevator up. When the doors opened, she stepped into the high-floor hallway filled with glass walls and panoramic views of the city. The conference room door was slightly open. Light spilled through the crack. She pushed it gently. Gabriel stood near the window, sleeves rolled up, going through a set of project documents. He looked up immediately. Emma, thank you for coming. Don't. She clasped her hands together. Did you need something for the quarterly report? No, he said. I wanted to talk to you. Her chest tightened. About yesterday? In part. Gabriel set the papers down and turned fully toward her. His eyes held none of the cold detachment she was used to from him. Instead, he looked thoughtful, almost conflicted. I may have crossed a line by approaching you in the woods. I want to apologize if it made you uncomfortable. End quote. It did not, she said too quickly, then winced. I mean, I was just embarrassed. That is all. He nodded slowly. I understand. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence settled like a thin layer of dew across the room. Gabriel studied her carefully, not in the way a boss examines an employee's performance, but in the way a person tries to understand another person's unspoken ache. I also noticed, he continued, that you have been working through lunch for almost 3 weeks. You have taken fewer breaks than anyone in your department, and your reports have been excellent, but they look like the work of someone who is running on fumes. Emma's pulse thudded at her throat. I did not mean for it to affect anything. It affects you, he said gently, and that matters. She looked away, the city skyline blurring behind her. I cannot afford to fall behind. I cannot afford a lot of things. It's not, mate. Gabriel's jaw tightened slightly, as if restraining a question he wanted to ask but knew he should not. Instead, he picked up a small object from the table, a keycard. I want you to relocate to the creative preview team for the next 2 weeks, he said. Fewer deadlines, more space, and I think your talent might fit better there. Emma blinked. My talent? His eyes softened. The sketchbook. Her stomach dropped. You were not supposed to see that. I did not see it, he corrected. But I saw how you protected it. Things we guard that tightly are rarely meaningless. Emma felt her throat close. She shook her head. Sir, I am not. I do not belong anywhere near the creative division. You do not have to decide now, he said quietly. Just try it. Let yourself breathe. Emma stared at the keycard in his hand. A lifeline she did not ask for, a chance she did not believe she deserved. And yet, something inside her shifted when she looked at him, something she did not have a name for yet. She hesitated, then slowly reached out and took the card. Thank you, she whispered. Gabriel gave the smallest nod, almost relieved. Good, he said. Then let us begin. Emma spent the rest of the day on autopilot, moving through tasks with the strange weight of the keycard in her pocket. Every time she touched it, her pulse jumped. She kept replaying Gabriel's words in her mind, especially the part where he said her well-being mattered. No one at Hartwell Dynamics had ever said anything like that to her. By the next morning, she arrived at the creative preview floor early. The space looked nothing like her old department. Sunlight poured through wide windows. The walls were lined with prototype displays, color boards, and mock-up designs. People talked softly in clusters, sketch pads under their arms, moving with the calm focus of artists rather than analysts. A woman with silver-rimmed glasses approached Emma. You must be Emma Alvarez. Mr. Hart told us you would be joining the team temporarily. Her voice was warm and steady. I am Dana, the team lead. Let me show you around. Emma followed quietly as Dana walked her through the workspace. The brainstorming area, the product concept wall, the testing station. Every corner felt alive with ideas she had never been allowed to explore before. Dana stopped at an empty desk with a fresh notepad placed neatly at the center. This is yours for the next couple of weeks. We usually start with observation sketches. You can draw impressions, shapes, anything that comes to mind. Do not worry about making it perfect. The goal is to express, not impress. Emma swallowed hard. Drawing for herself was one thing. Drawing where others might see was something entirely different. Still, she nodded. I will try. The morning passed gently. Dana checked in often, never pushing too hard, offering guidance only when Emma looked lost. Slowly, Emma's nerves loosened. The room hummed with a quiet, creative rhythm that felt nothing like the pressure-heavy floors she came from. Near noon, while the team gathered for a quick huddle, Emma stayed at her desk, shading the outline of a riverbank. She did not even realize she had drawn something from memory until the page revealed the beginning of the waterfall, the same place where everything had changed. A soft voice broke her focus. You remembered the angle correctly. Emma spun around. Gabriel stood a few steps behind her, hands in his pockets, tie slightly loosened. His presence hit her like a warm draft against cold skin. I did not expect you here, she said quietly. It is part of my job to check in on the preview teams, he replied, but his tone carried something gentler. How is your first morning? She hesitated, then answered honestly. Different, but good. His eyes drifted to her sketchbook again. May I see what you are working on now? Only if you want to share. Emma took a breath. Yesterday, she would have said no. Today, she found herself turning the page toward him. He studied the drawing, his brows lifting slightly as the waterfall took shape under the pencil strokes. This is very good, he said softly. You captured the depth. Emma felt warmth spread across her cheeks. It is only a draft. Even drafts tell the truth, Gabriel said. More than finished work sometimes. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The world outside the windows seemed to blur, leaving only the soft scratch of pencil on paper and the quiet rise and fall of their breathing. Then Gabriel straightened a little, his voice returning to a professional steadiness. I will not take more of your time. I only wanted to make sure the transition was smooth. It is, Emma said. Thank you for giving me this chance. His eyes held hers for a heartbeat longer than necessary. You earned it, Emma. And then he walked away, leaving her with a sketchbook open, a heart beating wildly, and a growing suspicion that the man she thought was made of stone was not stone at all. Emma returned to the creative preview floor the next morning with a steadier heartbeat than the day before. The soft hum of conversations, the scent of coffee, the scattered boards of half-finished concepts, it all felt strangely comforting now. Dana greeted her with the same warm smile, handing her a set of reference photos for texture studies. Just relax into it, Dana said. Let your hand move the way it wants to move. Emma nodded, settling at her desk. She opened her sketchbook and let her pencil drift in light strokes, building shapes without pressure. A leaf pattern, a ripple of water, the outline of a mountain ridge. For the first time in months, she felt her lungs expand without strain. Around mid-morning, the team dispersed to observe customer reactions to a new design across the hall. Emma stayed behind to refine a line study. The quiet gave her space, and in that space, thoughts of Gabriel returned whether she wanted them to or not. His voice at the waterfall, his gentleness in the conference room, how he stood behind her yesterday, looking at her sketch with sincere interest. She told herself it was nothing, a professional courtesy, a coincidence. Yet the memory kept replaying, pulling heat to her cheeks. A soft knock on the open door made her jump slightly. She looked up and froze. Gabriel stood there again. He carried 2 paper cups, steam curling gently from the lids. Dana mentioned you like tea better than coffee, he said. I hope I remembered correctly. Emma blinked. Yes, thank you. That is thoughtful. He set 1 cup beside her sketchbook before pulling a chair closer, but not too close. Respectful distance. He glanced at the page she had been working on. You have an eye for detail, he said softly. Not many people can capture movement on a still page. Emma let out a nervous breath. It is just practice. It is talent, Gabriel corrected. She felt her pulse flutter. The compliment came without flattery, without intention, just truth, and somehow that made it harder to ignore. He watched her for another moment, then said, I have a proposal. There is a gallery downtown that hosts small evening workshops on Thursdays. They teach composition and visual storytelling. I think it could help you grow, if you are interested. Emma stared at him. You want me to attend a workshop? I want you to explore something that clearly matters to you, he said. If drawing helps you breathe, Then you deserve time to breathe. Those words sank into her chest with unexpected weight. She looked down at her lap, unsure how to hold the sudden ache in her throat. Nobody has ever encouraged this. Not since I was a kid. Gabriel's brow softened. Then it is long overdue. The room fell quiet for a moment. A peaceful quiet. A warm quiet. The kind she only felt near the waterfall, except now it was happening in the middle of a corporate building, beneath fluorescent lights, with a man she barely understood. "Would you like me to sign you up?" he asked. She hesitated. Not because she did not want it, but because wanting felt dangerous. Wanting felt like stepping off a ledge and trusting someone else to catch her. But then she remembered the waterfall, his voice, his presence, the way he walked her out of the woods like she mattered, even when she tried to disappear. Emma drew a breath. "Yes, I would like that." Gabriel's lips lifted in a small, quiet smile, not wide, not confident, just real. "Good," he said. "I will handle the arrangements." He stood to leave, but paused at the doorway. "Emma, I hope you understand something. You do not have to be perfect here. You just have to be honest, with the work and with yourself." Izzy channeled to the rat. When he left, Emma stared at the tea he brought her. The steam curled upward like a soft signal she did not know how to read. But she could feel something shifting again, slow, steady, undeniable. She just did not know yet where it would lead. Emma attended the Thursday workshop exactly as Gabriel had arranged, though her hands trembled when she first stepped into the small downtown gallery. The room glowed with soft amber lights. Paintings lined the walls, each one more expressive than the last. People of all ages sketched quietly at long wooden tables. No deadlines, no supervisors, no pressure to perform, only art. For the first time in years, Emma felt a strange ease loosen her shoulders. She sketched in silence, letting the shapes flow without fear of judgment. By the time the instructor dismissed the class, her page held the beginnings of a composition that actually made her chest swell with pride. She slipped the sketchbook into her bag and walked out into the cool night air, her steps lighter. The next morning at Hartwell Dynamics, she arrived early again. The creative preview floor felt familiar now, almost like a place she belonged. Dana waved her over to the concept board. "Good timing, Emma. We are reviewing texture proposals for the next product line. I want you to add one of your studies to the board." Emma froze. "One of mine?" "Yes," Dana said with a gentle nod. "You have a perspective that is refreshing. Let us see what you can do." Emma selected a riverstone texture study she had practiced the night before. When she pinned it up, her hands shook slightly, but Dana's encouraging smile helped steady her breathing. The rest of the team glanced over, murmuring their approval. It felt unreal. As she returned to her desk, she noticed Gabriel standing near the glass wall, observing the team meeting from a respectful distance. When his gaze found her, something in his eyes softened, not a stare, not an inspection, just quiet acknowledgement. He gave a subtle nod, as if to say, "You see, I knew you could." She looked away quickly, her heart pounding faster than she wanted to admit. Around lunchtime, the team filed out for a meal downstairs. Emma stayed behind to tidy her sketches. A few minutes later, the door opened, and she sensed his presence before she even looked up. Gabriel approached slowly, his voice steady. "Dana told me you contributed to the board this morning." Emma nodded. "She encouraged me to try." "And you did," he said. "That is what matters." He paused, glancing at the sketchbook resting on her desk. "May I ask something? When was the last time you let yourself draw without apology?" Emma hesitated. "I cannot really remember. I stopped drawing seriously after my father died. Life became bills and work, and trying to stay afloat. Art felt like a luxury I could not afford to keep. Port. PAA. Gabriel's expression shifted with quiet understanding. "Sometimes what we think is a luxury is really a lifeline." Emma felt her breath catch. "Why do you care so much about this?" His lips parted, but he stopped himself for a moment, as if weighing the truth. "Because I have seen what burnout does to people. I have lived through it, and I will not watch it consume someone who has this much potential." Her chest tightened. She had never imagined him Gabriel Hart, the man who seemed carved from calm stone, struggling with anything. Yet the sincerity in his tone left no room for doubt. He stepped back slightly, giving her space. "If you ever need time off the main floor to sketch or clear your head, tell Dana or tell me. Do not wait until you reach your breaking point." Emma swallowed hard. "I am trying." "And you are doing well," he said. voice low and warm. More than you realize. Two-ace. Silence settled between them, a gentle, unspoken connection. Then Gabriel cleared his throat as if grounding himself. I will let you get back to work. He turned to leave, but Emma found herself speaking before she could stop. Gabriel? He stopped and looked back. Thank you. For all of this. A slow breath left him, almost like relief. You are welcome, Emma. She watched him walk away, her pulse trembling with a feeling she did not yet dare to name. But she sensed it now more clearly than ever. Something between them was changing, something neither of them could undo. Emma was not sure when the shift happened, but by the end of the week the creative preview floor no longer felt temporary. She found herself looking forward to the quiet mornings, the soft chatter, the smell of fresh paper. Even the elevator ride felt different, no longer a climb toward stress but toward a space where she could finally breathe. Late Friday afternoon, Dana dismissed the team early for the weekend. Most people packed up quickly, eager to beat traffic. Emma stayed behind to finish shading a texture sample. The floor grew quieter with every passing minute until she was the only one left. She closed her sketchbook and slipped it into her bag. As she reached for her coat, she heard footsteps behind her. Slow, familiar, steady. Gabriel. He stopped a polite distance away. You are still here. I thought Dana sent everyone home. She did, Emma said softly. I just wanted to finish something. Gabriel nodded, his gaze settling for a moment on the sketchbook peeking from her bag. You have worked hard this week. I hope you know that your contributions have not gone unnoticed. A quiet warmth rose through her chest. I am still learning. That is exactly why it is impressive, he said. You walked into a world you did not expect, and you adapted faster than most people could. Halfway well from sea. Emma looked down, unsure what to do with the sincerity in his voice. He took a breath, as if debating something within himself, then spoke more carefully. Emma, may I ask how you feel about the preview team? Do you want to stay after the trial period? Her heart stilled. Stay? As in, permanently? If you want to, Gabriel said. Dana is impressed. I am impressed. But your choice matters more than anyone else's. Emma felt the weight of her answer forming somewhere deep inside. Staying meant hope. Staying meant change. Staying meant stepping into a life she had convinced herself she did not deserve. Before she could speak, Gabriel's expression shifted abruptly. His phone buzzed in his pocket, and he glanced at the screen. A muscle tightened along his jaw. Something was wrong. I apologize, he said, voice low. I need to go. There is a situation I have to handle. He stepped back, but before turning away, he looked at her with an intensity she had not seen before. We will continue this conversation, he promised. And then he was gone, leaving the room colder than it had been a moment earlier, leaving Emma with a single, echoing realization. Whatever waited ahead for him would change everything for both of them. Emma did not see Gabriel at all the following Monday. His office lights stayed off, his usual morning check-ins did not happen, and the 22nd floor felt unusually tense. People whispered in the hallways, glancing toward the executive wing, with worry they tried to hide. Dana kept the team focused, but even she seemed distracted. By noon, Emma's stomach twisted with unease. Whatever had pulled Gabriel away on Friday clearly had not resolved. She tried to drown herself in sketchwork, but her hand shook every time she drew a line. Her mind replayed the moment his expression had changed, the urgency in his voice, and the way he had said, "We will continue this conversation." It felt like a promise, suspended in the air. Finally, unable to sit still, she walked toward the elevator and made her way up to the executive floor. She hesitated before knocking on his assistant's door. Claire looked up, startled. "Oh, Emma, are you looking for Mr. Hart?" "Yes," Emma said softly. "Is he in today?" Claire's face fell. "He is dealing with a board conflict, a serious one. I probably should not say much, but one of the senior directors accused him of mismanaging a major project. It is political, unfair in my opinion, but they are pressing him hard." Emma felt a chill run across her skin. "Is he in trouble?" "He is under pressure," Claire said gently. "He has allies, but the director making the accusation is influential. They are pushing for an emergency hearing tonight. It is not looking good. By der. In quote. Emma stepped back, heart thudding painfully. She knew the corporate landscape well enough to understand what that meant. A whisper was enough to stain a reputation. A false accusation could destroy a career in a single meeting. "Thank you," she murmured. She returned to the creative preview floor, but her mind refused to settle. She kept picturing Gabriel alone in a boardroom, fighting off people powerful enough to turn truth into whatever served them. It gnawed at her until she finally opened her sketchbook, needing something to anchor her. When she flipped the pages, a realization hit her so suddenly it made her inhale sharply. Weeks of studies, angles, patterns, observations. And right there, hidden in the strokes of graphite, was the key to one of the disputed project concepts, something she had sketched without thinking during a testing session, something that directly contradicted the claim being made against him. She looked at her work with growing urgency. These sketches were proof. Gabriel had made the correct call on the design data. The director accusing him was twisting the numbers. Emma grabbed the sketchbook, her heartbeat rising with each second. She did not know protocol. She did not know if she was allowed in a board hearing. She did not know how the directors would react to her. But she knew one thing with absolute clarity. Gabriel had believed in her when she did not believe in herself. Now it was her turn to stand for him. She tightened her grip on the sketchbook and stepped into the elevator, the doors closing around her with a soft, final chime. Whatever happened next, she would not let him face this alone. The board hearing was already in motion when Emma reached the executive floor. Voices echoed down the hallway, sharp, clipped, full of tension. She held her sketchbook against her chest, palms sweating, forcing herself to breathe as she stepped closer to the tall double doors. A guard moved to stop her. "This meeting is closed." Emma steadied her voice. "Mr. Hart requested supporting documents from the creative preview floor. I have them." It was not entirely a lie. He had not asked, but he desperately needed them. The guard hesitated, then opened the door just enough for her to slip inside. The room fell silent. A long table stretched across the space. Senior board members sat on both sides, faces tight and judgmental. At the far end stood Gabriel, calm but visibly strained, shoulders tense in a way Emma had never seen. Director Malden, the man leading the accusation, scowled as he noticed her. "Who is this? We are in the middle of a formal inquiry." Gabriel turned, stunned. "Emma." Emma walked forward, heart pounding but voice steady. "I am here because the data being used against Mr. Hart is incomplete, and I can prove it." Malden scoffed. "You are a junior analyst. You are not qualified to—" She opened her sketchbook to the page filled with her observational notes and the texture studies from the product trials. "This sketch was made during the same test Mr. Hart approved. It shows the original surface response the design team recorded. Your numbers are manipulated. His are correct." Murmurs erupted around the table. Several board members leaned forward, examining her work closely. One of them looked up. "She is right. These markings match the early phase testing files. Malden, your report omits the initial measurements entirely." Gabriel's jaw tightened, but his eyes softened as they shifted toward Emma. Malden stuttered, growing red. "This is absurd. She is not even part of the division. Yet she did the work you failed to show." Another director cut in. "Enough. This accusation has no foundation in the grab it." The decision came swiftly after that. The board dismissed the claim and announced that Gabriel's judgment on the project had been correct from the start. Malden was removed from the review panel pending further investigation. When the room finally cleared, Emma stood frozen near the doorway, gripping her sketchbook. Gabriel walked toward her slowly, the weight of the last hours dissolving with every step. "You should not have been in here," he said softly. Emma swallowed. "I know. In fright. Absolutes. But I am glad you were." The tension she had been carrying finally broke. "I did not want you to face this alone," she said. "You have helped me more than you know." I could not stay quiet. Gabriel looked down at the sketchbook she held, then back at her. His voice dropped to a warm, grounding calm. "Emma, you did more than defend my work. You defended me." She felt her breath tremble. "Anyone would have." "No," he said, stepping closer. "Not anyone. You do that." Endeavorly. The quiet between them held something new now, something unmistakably real. Gabriel exhaled, letting the truth settle. "I do not want the creative preview team to be temporary for you. I want it to be the beginning. And if you choose it, I will support every step you take." Emma felt her heart pull toward him with something steady and certain. "Then I choose it," she whispered. "I choose this." Chrysler. A faint smile touched his lips, gentle, sincere, and full of the promise she had once believed she would never be offered by anyone. "Good," he said. "Then let us begin for real this time." And as they left the boardroom together, side by side, the memory of that waterfall, their mistake, their beginning felt less like an accident and more like destiny finally taking shape.